Opening the bedroom doors. My name is Jessie Fresh. This is Ephraim Mallory, and we are going to be chatting about becoming multi-orgasmic and what that means. And if it's your first time here, say hi in the chat, engage with us. If you're watching live, you can watch live in the Opening the Bedroom Doors Facebook group. Oh, in this group, what we're doing is we are exploring all the things that are possible in your sex life. I am a sex coach, and too often I hear people say that they don't know what to try because they don't know what exists. And this show or this interview is to share with you all the different things that you could do or try so that you can expand your erotic possibilities. So we have new interviews that come out twice a month on titillating topics like this and more. And today I have Ephraim with me, and Ephraim is a poet and a modern hedonist and so many other things. And Ephraim and I became very well acquainted in one of our coach trainings to be an erotic blueprint coach. And in that training, I think I've talked about it a little bit already. In this training, on the third or fourth day of full-blown, like 10-hour days of training and getting to know each other and learning sex coaching skills, you learn hands-on skills to feed people's arousal so that you can help them understand their arousal and discover new possibilities. And Ephraim and I were paired in a group of 5 people, and we each got 5 minutes of receiving whatever it is that we wanted. I think the rules were that you had to keep your clothes on, and you set your boundaries beforehand. And Ephraim and I were in this group, and magic happened. We were with other amazing people as well. And I think, well, will you share a little bit of what happened in your mind, Ephraim?
You know, it's funny because in those places, there's like this flurry of, okay, what are your boundaries? Now get on the table because you have 5 minutes, you know, 1 minute for that. And then 5 minutes to just lie back and surrender.
To the 5 minutes.
To the 5 minutes that feels like so much longer and then not enough as soon as you're done.
Oh.
Yeah, and it's just this place of utter creativity and sensuality and love and excitement just pouring into every person on the table.
Yes. So one of my famous moments was, and this is something that I'm continually exploring right now, is how to tap into creative energy, how to stay inspired. And in one of the moments with giving, you know, there's 5 people on one person, and there isn't a lot of like landscape left of a human body when there's 5 people surrounding it. And so I found myself near someone's head. I think I've done this to Ephraim, and I've done this to Gina, who's also been on this. And I happened to just think like, ooh, what if I just started like pounding my pelvis into the massage table as if I was sending erotic energy through the crown of their head down all of their chakras. And the only way I could describe that was I whispered into your ear and said, would it be okay with you if I fucked your crown chakra?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. So it's now highly requested. It's so fun. It's so fun to play with that. And yeah.
It's a thing.
It's a thing. It's a real thing. And then for forever then the word morgies was a tagline of what we wanted more in our life. Because this training for myself allowed me to engage with sexual activity or pleasure in a way that did not feel romantically entangled, which I had never felt that way in my entire life. I had never been able to share pleasure with anyone that I didn't feel I was absolutely emotionally, physically safe. Meaning I had a fear of abandonment. And I was like, if I play with people and like show them all my greatness, then they're going to abandon me. And we worked on that in that coaching training. And from then on, I've been a free bird in certain ways.
I know. Awesome. Who's got a fear of abandonment? Who doesn't have a fear of abandonment? Crickets. At least with the two of us.
I see someone just said, is there a wait list for crown chakra fucking? There's no wait list. It's just highly desired. And
highly desired.
Something to play with in your life. And so, Ephraim, will you introduce yourself of who you are, what you do to these people that maybe just, they might be like, who is this wonderful person?
Well, hello, everyone. I am Ephraim, poet, modern hedonist. You know, it's funny because when I started calling myself a modern hedonist years ago, it was like this thing that just allowed me to embody my spirituality. My hedonist is my spirituality. It's like this connection with pleasure and all of life that we are definitely going to be talking about today it's the way that I connect with myself. It's the way that I connect with the universe. It's the way that I connect with other people. And it's my work to teach people how to connect in that way.
Will you share with people, like I had to look up maybe like a year ago, I was like, what is a hedonist? Will you share with your I was like, that sounds cool, but what is that?
So hedonist gets a bad rap. You know,
I agree. Yeah,
they really do. It's like this whole story of the ones who go to such excess that they end up killing themselves. You know, it's like all they're about is excess and pleasure and et cetera, and then, you know, they get fat and have too much sex and do too many drugs and die young, or, you know, who knows. Negative version.
Yeah.
Hedonist, though, it's one who embraces, in my mind, pleasure through all the senses. It's like accepting that here I am on this platform that you can't see of cushions and softness, and I've got some chocolate, I've got some water, and I'm just indulging in this moment and allowing myself to surrender to it. And that's how you make love.
Okay, a couple things right there. I was like, if I was watching this, I would be like, oh, check. Okay, check. Like, how can I surrender in this moment? How, like, what else is comforting to me right now? Yeah, I see some, yes.
Yes.
When you talk, I just sit back. I just go,
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's really nice to be able to create our space in a way that's gorgeous. Like, I always love seeing into your bedroom.
Thank you.
It's so yummy. Yes.
Thank you. It makes me feel yummy. That's why I did that.
Yeah. And this space is one of my yummy spaces. And it's not like not being in it. Yes, this is super conducive. Let's practice here. And we can surrender anywhere. Uncomfortable on a bus where everyone happens to stink that day. I mean, I guess now we'd have masks, right? So we're all walking around in gas masks.
Which makes it even more uncomfortable.
Right.
Yeah.
Even that moment can be full of pleasure. To me,
well, that's a shift.
Yes.
Ephraim, I was just so happy to be with you that I forgot to dance. I forgot that we were going to dance. Shall we dance?
Let's dance now.
Okay, great. Thank you. Love this. Okay, let's do this. Here's a little song to like usually we just dance a little bit to like get in our bodies and just kind of wiggle and get like floppy. And this is a time to do that. So here's just a little wiggle, like wiggle.
Yeah.
Oh.
Ooh.
That's a vibe. She wanna vibe. That's a vibe. Yeah. That's a vibe. It's a vibe. That's a vibe. Yeah. That's a vibe. Oh, it's a vibe. And that's a vibe. Yeah. That's a vibe.
What if this moment was orgasmic?
Yes!
It is.
Yeah, that's a vibe. That's a vibe. That's a vibe. It's a vibe, yeah, late night. Oh, it's a vibe. I'm excited. Oh, it's a vibe, yeah. Dim the lights. Oh, it's a vibe, yeah. Get high. It's a vibe. Oh, it's a vibe, yeah. It's a vibe. Don't you lie. Your pussy dripping, gushing, dripping down your thighs.
Did you hear that line? Did you hear that? Ephraim, did you just do this? That line says, it's a vibe, your pussy gushing, dripping down your thighs. And you went like this. Oh, I love that.
Got your thighs right here.
Yeah. Well, that's a great introduction to becoming multi-orgasmic. I heard you just say, like, how can this moment be orgasmic? So I would love to ask you, like, and people are like, yes, I heard it. I heard, yes. And music in the play space is beautiful when it's introduced. What is multi-orgasmic to you, Ephraim?
Oh.
Oh, are we getting? I thought we were just getting like a demo.
Oh yeah. I'll tell a story because stories are good, right?
Yeah, stories are great.
Once upon a time, I was one of those guys that was totally infatuated with when I was going to ejaculate.
Yeah.
Right?
I knew that coming was going to come in that sentence.
Coming was going to come.
Yeah.
Coming came. And too soon, all the time. Except on those really lucky moments, right? You know? Maybe. And so back then, I didn't know the difference between ejaculation and orgasm because I thought they were the same thing, right? Or I didn't know that there could be a difference between that peak at the top and then, oh. And so I started to learn what it might be, what multiply orgasmic might be sexually. Where it could be like this, you know, this ride.
Wait, I want to do it to the same direction as you. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Whereas peaks and valleys, climbing the orgasmic holy
yes.
Yeah. Yes.
So that's what I thought multi-orgasmic was in the beginning. You know, what is this mysterious thing that only women can supposedly do, or right?
Yeah, that's been looking into this. I didn't realize how this is mainly advertised to women, and there's very, very few messaging around like that cock-bodied people can be multi-orgasmic as well.
Right.
Suspicious.
I was jealous. It was like, wait, why don't I get to do that too? And then there's this myth of the multi-orgasmic man. Oh, I want to try that.
Yeah. Yes, please.
So I learned that. And in the process of learning that, of realizing that we get to like wave and wave and wave and wave, I realized that I could do that everywhere with everything.
What? Tell us more. Or
The story
is
continues.
there a story? Yes. Is there a story connected to that?
A while later. So I used to be a food reviewer, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Did you know that?
I did know that, but I still find that not surprising, but I'm like, oh, how indulgent and amazing. Like, where do I sign up? Yeah.
Right. So fantastic. And meanwhile, I'm just starting to incorporate, more orgasmicness, more turn on in my world. Right. And so one day I'm sitting there doing a review with a table full of 8 people. And it's a fantastic place. And I take this bite of short rib and it just kind of melts. And I'm like, oh. Looking around like, is anyone seeing this? Nope, they're not seeing it. I'm having an orgasm. Everyone sees it.
Short ribgasm.
Yes.
Wow.
Right. And so bite after bite of that meal, it's like that was like this little, the key unlocks and suddenly I'm in this space where, oh, now I can have orgasms with food. And I can have an orgasm with every chew, with every, like the way it savors and seeps through my mouth and down into my throat, which, you learn later, even you can have another orgasm just in the swallow.
Oh, sheesh. Things are happening in my body as we're talking about this. There's tingles. I'm thinking about food in the best way, like in an erotic way.
Yeah.
So I also want to highlight a specific moment that you just pointed out in that having that, like, oh my gosh, feeling this joy come over you and then being like, is this okay? Is everyone like, can people see me? Is this appropriate? And then just letting it go. That is a beautiful practice for orgasm, of being like, I surrendered to the pleasure.
Yep. It has to be done.
It must be done.
Well, if you want to be multiply orgasmic, then some level of surrender to the pleasure has to happen.
Yes.
At least in my experience.
Well, the opposite of that is problematic when I think of not, the opposite of that would be to not surrender to the pleasure. So then that does not equal multiple orgasms or orgasms at all.
Yeah, that moment could have been, holy fuck, that's not supposed to happen. Holy shit, did anyone see me? Shut down, shut down, shut down, shut down, shut down. Never have another orgasm with food or any pleasure whatsoever for all time. I am the worst hedonist ever.
Sounds like a crisis moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, how often do our crisis moments just fuck up our possibility for pleasure?
Yes. Yeah. Often, I'd say.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah. I'm thinking about when I was learning to like be multi-orgasmic in more of the sexual way. What started to happen is I'd play with it. I'd do the exercises, edging for men, come close. Ooh, oh yeah. Oops, 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 oops. And then no. Right?
I love the sounds of edging for men. Woo, woo, no, nope, not yet. Woo, woo.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, things were happening in my body that I didn't recognize. Because orgasm before that was, pleasure, peak, and then, right? And maybe there's like a little up here, but The fall.
I think it's refractory period.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when different things started to happening, one of the biggest things that really allowed me to really burst open into now I can fly was to say, oh, I think that was an orgasm. And to just, yeah, it felt good. Not what I was expecting, but okay, great. Let's call it that. And it's like in calling that, it said, hello, as a matter of fact, that's what I am.
Thank you for acknowledging me. I'll show you again.
Yes, exactly.
Oh my gosh.
And then
like a moment to like, so I'm soaking this in of like, yes, orgasm is possible and orgasm looks many different ways.
Yeah, it really does.
Can I share a story that I shared with you already, but maybe I haven't shared with these people?
Please do.
I had a moment where I did the stuffing it down part. Recently, I have been practicing. My goal for 2021 is to do something that inspires me every day. And that looks many different ways. It looks like doing things differently than how I normally do them, just to like mess up my pattern. Cause I've been like pretty easily in a rut with just doing like same things over and over. So I'm trying to switch it up. I'm doing different self-care that entices my senses a lot, like taking long baths, trying not to rush creativity and allowing like space and presence to show up while luxuriating my senses. And so I had a deadline to come up with something creative for like, ooh, it's romance week. Like you're a sex coach. Like, don't you want to like offer something to enhance the romance? And I felt completely blocked around that for 2 days where like a lot of my energy was like, block this shit down. I'm not ready. So I got in the bath for 2 hours. And the last like 15 minutes of it, I got a download. And the download was just like a whisper of like, oh, you're going to teach a class that's awakening your erotic energy. And it's going to be a play shop where people are allowed to bring sensation toys. They are allowed to like move with music that you're going to provide. You can guide them through breath work and through movement, like cues and things like that to get into their body and to release any blocks that are blocking them from expressing erotic energy. And I got so excited from that idea because it felt so easy. It felt so like ecstatic that I was like in the bathtub at midnight being like, oh my gosh, yes, that's the thing. And that's when you know that you're like, yes, this is what I meant to do. And I was like, this feels so exhilarating. And I felt so excited, so energized that I was like, how am I going to go to bed now? And my whole body was lit up with electricity. But then I went like, oh, it's nighttime. Like, chill, just like, bring it down. Like, bring it down. This is not something that you get that excited about. Okay. Just like bring it down a little bit. So I stuffed it kind of.
Yeah.
And when we talked about doing this, it made me realize like next time will be like, yes, excitement, you are here. What else is here? And how else can I feel this? And where do I feel this? And being with it. Because then I think more magic can happen.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's so crazy how we do that to ourselves.
Yeah.
I mean, you just recently did it. I still do it all the time. I'm supposedly good at this shit.
So I'm hearing it's like a discipline or like a practice or just like come back, like continue opening yourself up or allowing and surrendering.
It is. It's a comeback. It's allowing, it's surrendering, and then it's recognizing that what if in that moment you could have gotten off on stuffing it down?
Ooh, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah. So it's almost like, oh, wow, yes, what an amazing idea. Oh, yes. Oh, I've got to keep that really quiet.
Oh, I mean, the kinky side of me is like, oh, it's on.
Yeah.
It's on. Yeah. The like, shh.
Right.
Yes.
Instead of like the silly part, like it's almost like you have to catch the excuse. Because there's almost always the excuse. I mean, I look around an empty room in an empty house sometimes and I'm embarrassed. Oh my gosh, I'm in pleasure. Or, oh my gosh, I'm dancing. Who's going to see me? Nobody.
Yeah. Okay, that is a huge nugget. Huge nugget. Like, what is the excuse? What is it that the imaginary people in the room are talking shit to you? Is it that it's taking too long? Is it that it doesn't look how it's supposed to look?
Yeah.
I'm curious for people that are watching, what are some of the excuses that come up when excitement and pleasure show up for you that make you stuff it down?
Oh yeah. I want to see those. I know. And the one of I'm not doing it right.
Yeah.
That one is so big. I mean, that was my whole thing that was like the one I had to hurdle over in that moment of like moving into being more sexually multi-orgasmic. It's like, this must not be an orgasm because I don't recognize it as that.
Ooh.
What if it is?
Say more about that. Yeah.
Well, it's that moment when I was able to redefine it and say something cool is happening in my body. It's not exactly the same pleasure. At first, it wasn't the same pleasure that I had, with an ejaculation orgasm. It's like, oh, that feels really mild. I wonder what that is. So it's kind of sneaky. But now that like way exceeds ejaculation orgasm. It's like, whoa, here's this. And then here's another one. And here's another one. And riding that surrender because of a redefinition when it was a really itty bitty bitty thing. And saying, I see you. I see you. I will call you orgasm.
I will call you my little orgasm and I'll put you here on my shelf. You're reminding me of some clients of mine that have some obstacles to reaching the orgasmic state that they would like to reach. And often they're asking me like, well, how do I know? Like, it feels good, but like, how do I know that I've had an orgasm? And I love that idea of like, if you just had like 12 climaxes, let's celebrate all of those as something amazing rather than like, I got a golden ticket. Like, here's my one finale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if you just had this moment in your body where you felt the heat open up in your chest and it was like, that was awesome. And if you don't want to call it an orgasm because you want to differentiate, call it a heartgasm. And then suddenly it's like, it goes, yay, hi. You want me to show you again? Do you want me to show you again bigger? Okay.
That sounds nice.
But it really takes some patience too.
Yeah.
Like, we're all individuals. And so my orgasm is not going to be like anybody else's. But everybody has access to infinite pleasure.
Thank you, God.
Yes.
You did God's voice.
And so it's just kind of sinking in and saying, oh, to those clients, stop wondering if it's an orgasm. You don't even have to give it that name, but just dive in, right? Feel it, savor it, talk to it. Not with your mind, but with your body, your soul. Just like go in there and go, hello. Yes, to you. Yes.
I love that. Hello. I'm going to do that next time because I think my pleasure actually would like that if I was like, hey, baby, Then I would giggle, and then I'd be like, yes, this is so authentically me. Yes.
Oh my gosh. It's such a good way to like practice your blueprints too. It's like, all right, I have this pleasure. I'm going to speak to it in the sexual. What's up?
Yo, you're here, finally.
Ooh, give me some.
Show me that. Show me the goods.
And the energetic. Hi.
I've been meaning to connect with you.
Yeah.
I've been meaning to connect with you. You're so special.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did like a little preview of what I thought that like awakening your erotic energy experience would be for this class, which is going to be on Friday. So I got in my living room, I got out these sensation toys, lit candles, closed my eyes, put a blindfold on, and I did this like I was like, I have 2 songs worth to videotape myself and to just get into it and follow desire. And so it's similar to what you're saying, where like I was like, okay, like drop in immediately, follow your desire. What does it want? And it shifted and changed every, I would say almost like 20 seconds. Ooh. Of like, yes, scalp massage. And then like, thank you, this is amazing. And then being like, now I want light touch. And then it would be like, what's next? Like, oh, like lots of scratching. And it just went on and on and on and on. And when I opened, like when the songs were done and I took my eye mask off, I was like, oh. And that was just 2 songs. I'm planning to do this like, 2-hour workshop. But that was a great lesson for me of like, follow the whispers of desire. Like you can be as ADD as you want. You can be as weird as you want. You can take as little or as much time as you want. And that just leads to more and more and more enjoyment.
Yeah. You totally self-morgied yourself.
I morgied myself. You're right.
You did. That's fucking hot.
I love that. I'm more of that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And not a moment of self-consciousness.
No, it was just like, I am in the vibe of this. That's why that song has been like a part of my week, because I'm just getting in the vibe. But I do recognize it's taken a lot of work. It's taken a lot of understanding and recognizing what I'm doing to myself. If I used to bully my pleasure all the time of like, where is that thing? Like, when is it going to be here? And like, come on, like everyone's waiting for you. And that would sabotage me.
Yeah, I totally get it. I saw someone over there say that wasting time, this isn't productive.
Yeah.
Although,
like, doer.
You gave such a fantastic example of how productive it is. I mean, your stroke of genius right there.
Oh, yeah. I think so often that creative energy and sexual energy is not like branded in the same, that it's like the same thing. And you get both of those by doing the same practices. And yeah, pleasure and creative energy will solve your problems.
Yes.
That's why like at Google, this is a bad example. That's why like at Google, they have like ping pong tables and like dog day and like spa day. And they do all these things to like kind of break everyone's monotony up so that they can get creative. Yeah. They can have pleasure throughout their day. So
when I was writing the other day, and I had a few things that I wanted to get done. Mm-hmm. And so I start writing, and there's like 4 things. And I write the first 2. It's like, oh, yeah, these are so good. And then there's just like this pause, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. And so in that pause, there's this moment of, shouldn't you be doing the next one? Uh-huh. And then the other one after that? Mm. And I didn't fully allow myself to do what I wanted to do in that moment, because I had the part that was, shouldn't you be doing the next one? But I did stop. Mm. And it's like I went over here and I looked at my phone for a second and read an email. And then I sat back. What I wanted to do was get up and like, put her around with some shit. But I didn't do that because I needed to do my thing. But still the pause was enough. It would have been faster. I'm positive if I would have gotten up, done something, and come back.
Mm-hmm.
But what I was waiting for was the same creative juice to come back through so that it could come out again.
Yeah.
And it probably took maybe just 5 or 10 minutes of like giving it some space so the next thing could come.
Yeah. Giving it space so that you can come.
Totally.
That's what I heard.
Yep.
That. Yeah. I want to read a couple of the other comments in here. You mentioned like that I don't have enough time, or I'm not doing it right, or I'm by myself and this shouldn't be done by myself, or I'm not qualified / I'm lost in my imagination. Or should I do this later or some other time? But definitely I shouldn't take the time to feel pleasure right now. Like now is not the time.
Right? How could now be the time?
Yeah. So someone said, I struggle with heartgasms. Then I struggle more with heartgasms than other orgasmic pleasure. I have this story that it's too much and it's overwhelming to others to see me feel this, and I'll lose belonging if I let and allow this.
So good.
Heartgasms in my mind sound like more vulnerable in a sense.
Yeah.
Thank you all for sharing.
Yeah, thank you. I feel all of those. I mean, I've done all those.
Yeah.
And like reading them, they are all the excuse that comes in to stop us from realizing that pleasure is right now, and it always is. What a fucking distraction, right? Boom. Okay, we're done. And
Bye.
I used to wake up in the morning so fucking anxious and lost that it would be just, what do I do now? And I'm the guy who's teaching people that they can make love with their life and have an orgasm with the sunset, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I get up, and this was before I could like be more ecstatic with all this negativity that kind of can flow through. So I would fight for it. So there's these excuses that come in and say, you don't get to have pleasure. You don't have time. This is the wrong place. I don't know how. And so I'd get into this place. Ooh, I'll read a poem. This is about this. You want a poem?
Yes, you just made me imagine that, like getting out like a little sword and being like, excuses. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So this poem is a mild version of
Okay.
kind of like the way I would struggle, and I can talk about that. It's called The Point.
Okay. Can I close my eyes?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else that's watching that feels like poetry comes in more easily with their eyes closed, feel free.
Lately, in my morning contemplations, which sometime happen in the afternoon because it took me that long to finally get to the point that I could contemplate, I just added that part to the poem. I've been doing this thing that I do occasionally where I'm trying to get to the core of it all. You know, answering my own questions like, what makes you feel alive? Of course, that question usually emerges from, so what is the fucking point of it all anyway? I guess I figure that feeling alive is the point. Kind of. And reframing the question gets me to a more positive space. Just the reframing is enough. And that leads me to, okay, what do I do with that? And I find myself imagining and feeling beautiful and sensual communion, the magic of creation, stillness. Yes, this is what I love and live for. Creating from this, connecting with this, making love with this.
I'm feeling similar to how I felt from that music story that I was telling you about.
Awesome.
Making love with stillness.
And it's that thing where the excuse comes in and we forget that the whole point is pleasure. And whatever that question is for you, what makes me feel alive or what's the fucking point of it? And I would rage in my mind, what's the fucking point? And then somehow I'd hear the answer come in, hey, don't you teach about ecstasy? Oh, right. Right. And sometimes that would take all damn day, but it's worth getting there.
Yes.
Because on the other side of that, you get magical moments like you had in the bathtub where it's like, got it. Let's do that. And then you do it.
Yeah. And that's also the way that I've felt connected to like my purpose. Like, silly. I'm throwing a freaking event 2 days before it happens. Like, I'm like, no one's going to come because they don't know about it because it's only been 2 days. But I am so hyped, so excited, so sure that I'm like, this is going to be freaking epic for whoever does show up, even if it's just me. So that feeling of living life in that way is the only way I want to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a little like munchkin, maybe villain, maybe talking, thinking that maybe there are some sexual blueprints in this audience that are like, when are you going to tell us how to have multiple orgasms? That's just the story I'm telling myself.
Yep.
And I'm coming to this just being totally open. So I don't know what else to do with that besides just voice it and be like, yes, I acknowledge you for the like, but how, I'm gonna learn. How am I gonna do this? Which we are learning right now.
Yeah.
Opening yourself up to the pleasure and allowing it to happen. Giving yourself space and stillness. Sword fighting the excuses.
Surrendering past them. It's all like the thing. And so there you are, playing with yourself. By the way, the best way to learn this is with yourself.
Yes. Which is terrifying for some of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at least with yourself, you're not going to have performance anxiety around someone else. You just have your performance anxiety around yourself. Oh my gosh, who's watching? Oh my gosh, I suck at this. Yes.
Oh my gosh, look at my body. Is this good enough for myself? Like, am I sexy enough for myself? Like, what?
Yeah.
Just pop those.
Yeah. And then as you move into that place of popping those, letting them go, surrendering to the music like you did when you practiced. There you are, surrendering. There we are, surrendering. And it's like, oh. And then ride the pleasure a little higher and a little higher, a little higher. And then pause at the peak. Don't jump. It's like, ooh, what if I could take this walk all day? That's multiple orgasm. And yes, if you do want that feeling of like multiple climaxes, for me, it's still that pause. It's like, all right, I'm going to pause here and let this expand through my whole body, because I think most of us in that moment are in our genitals going, yeah, 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 yeah. And your genitals are going, yeah, yeah, yeah. And if you can just go through your whole body in that moment with that pause, that's where multiple orgasm can hit. It's like, whoa.
full expansion.
Exactly. And then it gets to reverberate. We're not talking about just multiple orgasm here. We're talking about multiple full body fucking orgasm. Because why not just go for that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
So then you can play that game if you're like using your genitals as part of it too. Oh yeah, here we go. Get to that point again, pause, expand. At some point, you're probably going to go over the edge after 1, 2, 3 hours. But 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20.
Sometimes, like, what I'll actually physically do is that if there's a lot of energy being accumulated in like the genital area, I'll like cup my hands and like scoop up the energy and like spread it all throughout all the limbs, like over my face, down to my feet. Sometimes I'll ask my partner to do this, especially if I'm like, like panicking in the best orgasmic electricity and being like, can you spread it? Please spread it. That is one way that I practice, like actually like moving it physically, just imagining that there's like little light tingles and you're just going to spread the glitter all over your face and all over your whole body, including your mouth.
I love that. I love the glitter image.
Yeah.
And I loved watching you spread it just now. It was quite nice.
Thank you. Well, I have, like, this talk has made certain things show up in my body where I'm like, yes, just keep talking about multiple orgasms and we'll just see what happens.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whew, okay, let's move this around. If you're watching this and you're like, yeah, I want to spread some energy, notice where there's the most energy in your whole body, even if it's not erotic, if it is tension, if it is tightness, if it is good, like pleasurable, neutral, see what it feels like to spread it.
Yeah.
Also, oh, go ahead.
Okay.
Oh, I was thinking another thing to add to this is to not make it so genitally focused, that when we think of like multiple orgasms, we're like, I just poked my own eye.
It's dangerous to think that way.
Yes,
you just proved it.
Yes. And it's so many other ways. Like when you take yourself out of that box of like, well, I only know these examples, so this is what I'll do. When you rip to shred that box of like it only being genitally focused or only looking like sensual and like sultry, it can look so many different ways. And when you find those different ways, that, like when I said that I'd be talking to my orgasm, like, hey, baby, like that lights me up more than being like, no, I'm going to be sexy instead. No, just be weird. Do you. Fuck the script. Get fucking weird.
Yeah. And when she says do you, she means that literally.
Yes, do you, boo-boo. Okay?
Yeah.
Yes. Someone said, how many hours?
Well, all of them.
Yes. Yes.
Like you get to exist in a state of ecstasy. And
say it again. Say it again. Say it all again.
You get to exist in a state of ecstasy. And that can feel like this wave of pleasure that is all of life, and it gets to be all orgasmic. Multiple orgasm from your genitals is fucking fantastic. And it pales in comparison sometimes to when you realize that you get to be ecstasy. So when
I got chills when you did that.
Yay. When I say all the hours, I mean it. Am I in it all the hours? No, not yet.
Mm-hmm.
Do I know people that are? I have suspicions of maybe a couple of people, but I think that they aren't really either. It's just this matter of when you start to realize that even the despair, the stuffing down is your kinky ass fucking pleasure. And yes, that's orgasmic too. And then you get to rise up to these heights of creativity and heart and all the beautiful things that happen. It's being orgasmic all the time. It's almost like multi-orgasmic becomes meaningless because you are orgasm.
I'm signing up for the orgasm ecstasy. You are ecstasy everyday newsletter.
Yes.
You reminded me as well in that what was that little note that came trickling down? I lost it. It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite tool is breath. I want to say that.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine it's one of your favorites also. But breath is just breath has all the pause that you need, all the stillness. It has all the excitement. It has life and death. Just to get totally esoteric. It allows you to reach down into your body, spread pleasure everywhere if your hands happen to be tied.
Yes, please.
It allows you to condense, like, oh, I want pleasure here. It's breath is awareness. It's utter creation, utter destruction, if you want it to be. And that is also orgasm. And playing with your pleasure, with your breath. It's like, oh, here I am doing myself again. And you can't have an orgasm in a breath at any time. Just FYI. And for me, that involves just like holding on to my pleasure with my breath and letting it expand. Boom. Change with a breath. All right, I can't always do that. Not when I'm like so fucking rageful or whatever it is, but I've done it enough times for myself, helped other people like find that place of pleasure in a breath. And not just pleasure. Yes, that's there. Like, oh, the deep breath that magically calms us. By the way, one deep breath really does that physiologically. And the breath that is orgasm. And then take another one. Hi, orgasm.
That's why I love speaking with you, because every time I speak with you, you take these beautiful pauses that encourage my body to naturally just go. And you have this like tone of voice that is like in a humming kind of like low bassy noise that like humming is a part of pleasurable breath as well, like vibrating your whole nervous system. So anytime you talk, I'm like, like yeah, that.
I do make those sounds, don't I?
You're a cooer and an ooer and an r and a mmer. Yeah. And it just makes everyone else go like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. If there's anyone watching that has any questions before we wrap up, I would love to know what your burning questions are. But if you're like me, you're like, yes. As soon as Ephraim started talking about breathing, I started breathing more. Now I have no worries. Yeah.
Here's the invitation. This conversation, this whole thing is so rich.
Mm-hmm.
There's a part of me that's a little too shy to just like breathe and orgasm like in a big way.
Are you sure?
Hmm. You want to stick around for another couple hours and watch me breathe? But the invitation is come right now. Can you allow it? And if you're over there behind your screen, you know, we don't even see you. So breathe all that pleasure and see how it fucking expands through your body. And can that become just a little climax and then another one and then another one?
Mm.
From my experience, yes.
Mm.
And I think it's possible for everyone. So if you're thinking it's not possible for you, that's just another one of those excuses. Just fucking wipe it away. Shake it off. Dance again. Oh.
I'm already like, how can dinner be orgasmic after this? And even though like we've been talking throughout this and I feel things alive in my body, like I am very aware of certain parts of my body right now that are like hot and plump and like more engorged. And I'm like, what if I just keep that like pilot light lit a little bit longer and just play with that? The entire, like, how can peeing be orgasmic? How can eating be orgasmic? How can your work be orgasmic? How can every breath be that?
Yes. That's it.
I
I love that. Just keeping the pilot light on longer.
I'm
And
like,
that way,
I'm like on a medium burn right now.
exactly. Stay right there.
Yeah.
And then, woo, yeah, roller coaster. Woo, loop de loop. Where did that come from? Yeah.
Thank you so much. I had a thought just before that. I was like, can I have this pep talk every day? And so Ephraim, will you tell people how they can connect with you, how they can read more of your poetry, how they can learn about ecstasy from you?
Yeah. Thank you. And then I have a poem to read. Another.
Okay.
You can find my book on Amazon. It looks like this. Making Love with This. And I read you the poem where that came from. Yeah. I do one-on-one coaching. And what I love to do in that is just bring people into pleasure. And yes, there's conversation and there's exploration. And then there's just, let's embody what that is for you and scrape off as much as we can so that you can get closer to that. Yeah. Oh, and I'm doing In Bed with Gigi and E, a Facebook group that y'all should come and join. We're actually going to let people into it this week.
Yay, cool. I'm excited. Yeah. I love when I get to see you and Gigi in the bed, just like, I'm like, did they just shower? Did they just have sex? What are these beautiful people going to be saying to me? I really don't care because I'm here for it, because every time they speak, I learn huge things.
Yeah.
And just the way they speak, I already feel better about life.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So connect with me. Direct message me. I guess for the moment, I'll put some links around, I guess, to my website. Oh, One Breath to Pleasure, my free download. Go download that.
Okay.
It's at onebreathtopleasure.com.
What is that?
Well, you know,
Just tease us with it a little, you know? I'm just like, what is it, Ephraim?
Yeah. You know how I talked about, you know, being able to breathe and be orgasmic in one breath?
Mm-hmm.
One breath to pleasure.
Damn, I want to eat a meal with you and just have you talk to me about the food.
That's coming too. I'm going to do some sensual feasts.
I'll be there.
Yeah. Oh, I want you there. Okay, one more poem.
Okay.
Here is your prescription for being multi-orgasmic all day. It's called Before Climax.
Okay.
In the morning, connect. The softness of you, the silence, the pulsing flow of your blood and loving touch of your fingers, the sex of you, delicious sensuality in a slow, warm stir, calling you to life, rising up your body, this call of the wild. You answer with your breath, savor through your body, turned on, but not chasing, teasing, not climaxing. And then you do the dishes. Make breakfast, shower, work, create, eat, and do the dishes again all day, breathing your body alive, your eyes bright, your soul ecstatic. Keep the burner on, baby.
I'm afraid that I'm not afraid at all, but I think that like I really need to pee right now, and I'm not afraid that I might orgasm while peeing because it'll feel so good with the tingly heat that has been building from this, and yeah, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Ephraim, thank you so much for this. So wonderful. So beautiful. So happy to be here with you and that other people get to experience you and learn about this more.
Thank you, too. I adore you.
Same.
It's so fun. This was so amazing.
Same. So happy. I am going to invite Ephraim and a bunch of our other awesome, sexy colleague friends to the Awakening Your Erotic Energy because I think I just want as many people there as possible. So Ephraim, if you're available on Friday, I have a little special link for you.
Ooh.
If you and Gigi are available on Friday, you can come to this party. If the people that are watching are available on Friday night at 7 p.m. PST and you want to do something to keep your pilot light lit and or ripping and roaring, Awakening Your Erotic Energy, a self-seduction and movement play shop is happening Friday. It's going to be on Zoom. That's just how it is right now. But in that, you get to have safety of your own space. I'm asking that you do some preparation of like luxuriating your body, luxuriating your space, bringing sensation toys. I'm going to take you through some breath work. We're going to set the container in the group agreements. We are going to do some awesome like undulating movement through a thing of music. I picked some really sexy music. Bring your blindfolds. You can have your camera on or off. I'll put that. What is the party? Which party? we have to.
The one you're talking about now. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
So what I'm talking about now, it's called Awakening Your Erotic Energy. I'll put the information in our group after this. so that you can get a ticket. The tickets are $33, and it's going to be 2 hours of just like unraveling, opening, following that whisper of like, what do I desire now? What do I desire now? Just to like oomph up the self-love juices on this week that celebrates romance and romancing yourself and anyone else that gets to enjoy you.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I hope that my schedule is open that night. And remember this, everyone who's watching, this is what came out of Jessie's bath and the pleasure that she was so excited about. So I want to be at the result of this orgasmic moment.
Mm-hmm. Yay. Yes.
Yeah.
It's meant to be.
Thank you.
Would you like to blow everyone? Everyone, even though we can't see you, blow a kiss. Give us a thumbs up if you like this. Give us a heart. That way other people can see this stuff too. And blow us a kiss goodbye. As if your kiss blowing was becoming multi-orgasmic. Ready? Oh, gosh. Okay.
Yay!
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.